All right, joining us today, fresh off his third straight victory in the Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship, this one in the main event over former heavyweight champ Joey Beltran, is the one and only Houston, the Assassin, Alexander. Thank you so much for joining us, Houston.
What's up, fellas? Hey, you guys are live from Vegas, huh?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
You are in Nebraska right now, is that true?
Omaha, Nebraska, fellas. And it's not too bad. It's about 40-something degrees. But you know what's weird? Because every time I go to Vegas, it's always cold.
It's cold right now, yeah.
It's real cold right now. It's about
we're having an unusual cold spell.
Well, what's cold? What's cold for you guys? What, 50 degrees?
We're actually like 42 right now.
Oh, well, you guys are in the desert. I keep forgetting.
Yeah.
Right. It gives us an excuse to break out our coats and stuff, right?
That's funny.
Well, listen, I would love to start off talking about your latest fight. It was the main event of BKFC 33 in your hometown against the champ Joey Beltran, and it was we just got done rewatching it for a third time. It was an outstanding performance. It was a real statement victory, I think, across two divisions, both cruiserweight and heavyweight. Now, you had a history with Joey. I know you said that wasn't important going into the fight, but it's been a few weeks now. How are you just feeling overall about getting the W and the fight itself and how it went?
You know, it's interesting because I tell people all the time, right now at this point in my career, I'm just having fun. So, you know, why wouldn't you just have fun if you're at 50 years old, you're doing exactly what you still want to do. You know, I enjoy fighting. I love fighting. So I'm just having fun right now.
Well, it's you. I mean, you're in tremendous shape, and it seems like bare knuckle is
I'm
really
okay. I'm okay.
Yeah, okay. If you're okay right now, I'd love to see what you think is good. But you know, in that fight, you made and all three of your fights really thus far in BKFC, you've made really effective use of your jab, followed by that setting up your overhand right. And specifically in the Beltran fight, not only did you set up the overhand right, but then as you were kind of driving him down with that punch, you were following up with right uppercuts. And I was wondering if that was something that you specifically trained for in fight camp, or if you just kind of are noticing this during the fight and your fight IQ is finding that for you.
You know what it's called? It's called boxing. So no, you always lead off with the jab, and you know, and it doesn't matter what the strategy is, or you don't have to strategize for it. You just got to go out there and box, man, and you just got to be effective with your striking, and the first one to the front punch is usually the person that wins. So it's just boxing, man. You know, no particular formula, no witch's brew. It's just boxing.
Transitioning over from MMA to BKFC, has that been like more of like a seamless transition for you? Or have you had any kind of different things that you're doing maybe in your training camp now that you've made that switch?
Nothing different. And this is easy. I tell people all the time, bare knuckle is easy compared to being taken down, being kicked, being elbowed, being kneed. So which one would you prefer to do? Would you prefer to box, or would you prefer to do all that? So I think it's less exhausting, and you know, to me, as you know, as a long-time fighter, man, this is easy. This is easy to me.
Well, and now kind of like your whole like career is kind of like seeing this renaissance at age 50 is like the way you handle your career. I know you said you're having a lot of fun, but are you handling your career differently, or are you like putting in those same training hours, or are things taking a different speed for you?
You know what's interesting? I think I train every day anyway. So when they approached me, I was already in shape because I train every day. And the only days I actually really take off is probably on a Sunday. So when Monday through Saturday, I'm always training. And even when I take a day off on Sunday, I feel bad because I'm so used to training, man. And then I think keeping a healthy body and keeping your blood flowing is a big thing when it comes to health. And I just always trained. So it was not a big deal when they asked me to do it.
Awesome. Well, now that you have had a little bit of
Hold on.
experience,
Let me ask you a question. Are you guys in shape?
yes, sir. Working on it.
Are you guys in shape? That's the question.
Yes, sir.
Not as good as it could be. That's for sure. I mean,
not looking as good as you at 50. That's for sure.
Hey, but just say again, it's always been in me, and then, a few genetics has to do with it, so it's cool.
Yeah.
You've been in a spot now where you're in BKFC, which is kind of a young, burgeoning promotion that's really on the way up. And if you kind of look back at your career, you were also in the UFC in a similar time, as well as Bellator. And then you can look, and you've basically fought in the major promotions when they were still up and coming, and you fought in smaller regional promotions all over the world in Europe. What has that been like? I mean, that's quite an experience that a lot of fighters really don't get to have.
What gave me, I think, the edge is that coming up in the smaller ranks, fighting in the bars, fighting in the small arenas, all that stuff prepared me for the UFC when I first got into the UFC. Because even my first fight, I was nowhere near nervous, because I was so used to fighting in different elements, in different arenas, in different environments. So, I think, starting off, being able to fight in all those different areas helped me out tremendously, man. So when, going to Europe or going over here or going over there, I had no problem with doing that, man, because I already had the experience in fighting in the smaller shows.
Do you have a favorite promotion over the years that you fought for, or even just a favorite fight that you've been in?
That was a promotion over in Europe, and I fought, the current light heavyweight champion. I forget the Polish guy's name, but
Jan
I fought him.
Blachowicz?
What's that?
Was it Jan Blachowicz?
Yeah, I fought him over in Europe and with the promotions over there, and I think they were one of the top-notch promotions that I ever been to, because when they bring the fighters out, they rotated us. They brought us up on the elevator type deal, and they rotated us, and it was a very cool production. So I think that's one of the favorite ones I've been to, and to be honest, even the smaller shows where I just walked out and had to, and the up and close and personal shows, those are the ones that I really like, because you got the people that you can really see their facial expressions, and they were really on top of you. So I think a lot of the times, the smaller shows I was really proud of and happy to be at too. So, but the UFC, of course, is the epitome. And when I first got out there, again, I was not nervous, but to see 14,000 people, all at once, cheer for you, especially what happened with my debut. It was great, man. So but I still say the smaller shows, fellas, are important. So that's why I tell people all the time, on my social media sites, to support, your independent artist or your independent fighter in your area, and those shows.
I remember that Keith Jardine fight when you came in. That was amazing. What is it that really got you started in fighting?
Oh man, I got to fighting on a dare from a friend of mine. A friend of mine went to a bar. They were doing like a strongman MMA type deal in the bar, and they were signing people up. And she dared me to get into the ring because she knew I kind of boxed and wrestled a little bit. And Ann Houston is her name, and she dared me to get into the ring. And the first time I ever got into the ring, it was probably one of the bloodiest matches I've ever seen, because I hit the guy in his nose, and there was so much blood all over, but I ended up winning. And from that point on, the promotions took a liking to me, and from starting from a dare for my friend in a fight in a bar, that's when I started doing MMA.
Well, with that being said, also, I feel like your BKFC career has been real interesting. Being able to fight in front of your home fans, how's that been for you? Being able, because we know how much you love your city and how much you love your community, and being able to put these great performances on for them. How does that truly feel for you?
No, I think it's more important to put it on, put on in your city for the next generation coming up, the next set of fighters that are coming after you. You know, like being a pioneer. So allow all the people, especially in the UFC, just think about all those great fighters that came before uh, the fighters that are they're presently doing their thing now. I think that a lot of people have more a passion for those older fighters than they do now because they were the foundation. And laying foundation is important for myself or anybody that's doing the sport. So or anything. Foundation should be the the marker for anything. So I'm just proud to be laying this foundation to MMA in my city or my state or in the country. That laying the foundation that's important to me.
I think Paul and I can both identify with that. He grew up wrestling. I was an amateur boxer, and I think we both agree with exactly what you're saying. Having that in your youth is really important. And I know that's something else that you're involved in your community. You've got something called the Houston Alexander Foundation, which I know has a focus on youth, community, fighting, as well as hip hop culture and other things. Tell us about that.
I train the elderly because when you ever go to the gym and you see the older person or the younger person walking around and they don't know what the hell they're doing in the weight room.
Yeah, sure.
My foundation, you can go to my website and I end up helping out people for free. So I try to find out what's going on with their body types. I train people for free. That's one aspect of it. But one of the major aspects of it is of my foundation is going into the schools teaching the kids about hip hop culture. Because guys, how old are you guys? If you mind me asking.
I'm in my 40s. He's younger 26.
Than me. Okay,
He's
but do you fellas know anything about the hip hop culture at all?
I'm an old school hip hop head. I've been listening to rap since I was 3. My first cassette tape was the Fat Boys.
Who is your favorite MC?
My favorite MC back in the day. I mean, it's easy to point to things like Tupac and Biggie, like everybody else does. But
I'm talking about. If you've been listening to 3,
I like
give me
Big
a
Daddy
name
Kane,
that you don't hear on the mainstream at all.
Big Daddy Kane, Eric B. and Rakim, EPMD.
Yes, sir. Those are classic guys who laid the foundation to what we do. And what's funny is there's a guy that I know who grew up in the culture here in Omaha. He's the manager for a founding father of hip hop, Grandmaster Flash.
Okay, yeah, one of the big 3.
This guy manages in Omaha, Nebraska, of all places. This guy manages Grandmaster Flash and the Furious 5. Well, of the Furious 5, and hip hop turns 50 this year. So man, that's crazy, man. That we're talking about that. But we've been going to the schools since early 2000, teaching the kids about hip hop culture because they get so much negative imagery from television and radio. So I'm just proud to be that person to go into schools and teach the kids about music, dance, and art. That's what our foundation does. And man, we got a lot of schools coming up here in the next month or 2.
I think that's really amazing because, unfortunately, like, as you know, hip hop started as being an alternative for youth violence and aggression, in the Bronx. And it was focused on that with, like you said, with Grandmaster Flash, with Grand Wizard Theodore and the Scratching and fucking Cool Herc. All these guys, it was an answer to gang violence and to youth that just couldn't have an outlet. And then it seems like the culture got away from that, right? And it turned into almost like it's promoting violence, which is sad. And I don't see enough of what you're doing. And I didn't even know you did that till I started researching this interview. And it made me really excited to learn more about it and seeing someone bring that to the youth, like it used to be. You know what I mean? Where there was a message.
Do you have children?
I do. I have a daughter I've raised by myself. Yeah, I do.
So you have a daughter. Can you imagine having your daughter in the back seat and she's hearing a song about a wet ass pussy? No,
sir.
Come on, man. That's on the radio. That's on the radio. So just imagine our kids not knowing about what the culture is about that we love. And that's our job. We got to teach them about the culture and why you listen to rap music, why there's graffiti art, why there's dancing. Because some of the most incredible athletes of all to me are b-boys, breakdancers, b-boys and b-girls, especially when they're going to have it in the Olympics coming up. So that's when hip hop has made a turn, when you got b-boys and b-girls in the Olympics coming up. So that's crazy, man. So
I missed that news. That's amazing.
Yeah, man. We have b-boying, which all the mainstream people will know it's breakdancing, in the 2024 Olympics.
Man,
that's awesome.
That's amazing. That's quite a journey from what we were talking about a second
ago.
That's
crazy, huh? Especially a guy, a hip hop head who's followed hip hop all his life.
No, absolutely. I mean, I was just talking about, those three guys. You mentioned Grandmaster Flash. You got Kool Herc. He's the one that, was putting those breaks in so the b-boys would start dancing. And now you fast forward to now it's in the Olympics.
All those people that has anything to do with the culture, I've met them, and they were surprised that a kid from Omaha, Nebraska would know more about the culture than somebody in the Bronx, New York. Wow. Because we in the Midwest, we had to study the art form. It came natural to those people on the East Coast or the West Coast. But in the Midwest, we got so much of the music, so much of the dance, and so much of the art, we had to study it. So by the time it went out to the West Coast or the East Coast, we had to know more about it than the other people. So,
man, that's awesome. What an amazing thing that you're doing. Just a few off the cuff questions related to that type of thing. Do you have like a favorite hip hop artist you're listening to right now?
And again, when people say hip hop artists, I would say rap artists, because we're talking about rap. We're not talking about hip hop. When you say hip hop artists, and people got that messed up. As an educator, we have to educate them. Hip hop is the culture. So if you're going to mention rap, do I have a favorite rap artist? Of course I do. I don't have a favorite hip hop artist.
No, you're 100% correct.
I have a favorite rap artist, which is one aspect of the culture of hip hop.
100%. Yeah, tying in with graffiti, b-boys, etc.
Yeah, so 100%. So if you ask me, do you have a favorite rap artist? I do have a favorite rap artist, and that would be probably the architect of the whole culture, and that would probably be Rakim.
Yeah, Rakim is one of the greatest.
Without Rakim, there would be no formatting of sentences, or formatting of words, or using your voice as an instrumental, as an instrument. Rakim is the guy that first did that.
Would that be your favorite hip hop era? Those early years,
late
70s, early 80s?
To be honest, the culture of hip hop, all eras are my best era, are the best eras. Because right now, just think about it now. We have the technology to not bring a whole bunch of records, not to bring thousands of records to the jam. You can just go, you can get a whole bunch of MP3s on a terabyte, and versus bringing a whole bunch of damn records. So the era, I like all eras of music, as long as the music makes sense. A lot of the times, and you got to today, all you hear, because you wouldn't want your daughter to hear WAP in the car, because if that's all the labels are promoting, that's all they're playing on the radio. That has to be an agenda behind that, and I believe that. There's no conscious rap, and there's no rap music that's actually educating people. Think about that. And when they stop educating people, that's what happened. And even in some interviews, you can hear some of the executives talk about playing only music that's destructive and that people don't want to hear. And that people want to hear, but not everybody wants to hear anything about some wet ass pussy,
for sure,
or drug dealing, or killing some N-word. So man, it's just funny, man.
Yeah, mainstream rap's a bit of a disappointment these days, for sure. I'm much more focused myself on independent scene. I think that's the only place where you're getting anybody that's trying to put a message out.
Even the independent guys think they have to just rap a certain way for you to get to clicks, or for you to get the label to look at you. So again, you got Kendrick Lamar's and J. Cole's and those guys like that. And if you gotta be real, if I gotta be real with it, one of my favorite MCs right now, dead, is in Nipsey Hussle.
Yeah. Nipsey Hussle is.
Yeah, Nipsey Hussle, man. Hey, Nipsey Hussle is the modern day Game. He's the modern day Snoop. He's the modern day, because he's a mixture of both West and East Coast.
And he pushes the culture forward. That's a real difference. I feel like
the way he pushed the culture forward is that he was teaching kids how to use their money and how to invest in their community and how to because of course he had all these different subject matters, but he was teaching kids how to use their money and how to use it in the community. And unfortunately, the community, it was his demise, but he was giving the kids game, not just gaming the kids.
Absolutely.
Well, I do want to transition a little bit over to the fighting aspect of things. Is there anyone like nowadays? Like, are you super into fighting nowadays, or are you more?
Yeah, no, of course I watch the fights. I heard about the Gervonta Davis deal that just happened this past weekend, or just this past week. Of course, the Terrence Crawfords. I watched boxing. I watched a little bit of everything, man, especially with YouTube. I try to stay up on top of everything.
Who are some of like the guys you look at, like maybe in the UFC side of things, that are some of your favorites to watch?
Oh man, I'm a real big fan of I like the Stylebender. I'm a big fan of the Stylebender, and I'm a real big fan of Khabib because Khabib is no nonsense. That man goes in there, he tells you what he's going to do to you. You know what he's going to do to you, and he does it to you anyway. So Khabib is one of my favorite fighters, and I'm a big fan of the heavyweight champ as well.
Yeah, for sure.
So again, there's even though you have to sift through all the shit.
Yeah.
And I'm sure it's over 500 fighters. You just gotta focus on the good fights that people have, and to focus on the people that have skills.
Absolutely. And also in like the BKFC world, like is there any fighters that maybe you, because I feel like you have from the way you're talking, you have a really great influence on all the guys, like as far as not only culture but fighting it as a whole. Like, is there anyone you feel like that maybe you saw at a young age that has come such a far way just from that you've been around at least?
Oh man, right now even with the bare knuckle, there's the Marine. There's and again, I haven't met him personally.
Richfield.
Yeah, the Juggernaut. Those two guys, I love watching those guys fight. And all those guys that are out there doing their things. I enjoy watching a good fight. But those two guys in particular, the Marine and the Juggernaut, are two of the guys that I watch because if you watch the Juggernaut, he goes out there he's reckless and he takes chances, and the Marine is more precise. And he's a more precise boxer. So those two guys in the BKFC is what I like, man. Those are the guys that I like.
In your last fight against Beltran, in both the post-fight interview, and then I noticed it on a shirt that you had on during an interview pre-fight, it said "Fighting solves everything." Is that just happened to be a shirt you were wearing, or is that a type of slogan maybe that you've got a little?
Well, no, that's of course that's a sponsor of mine through Soldier Sports, but that's something I came up with, and I thought that was perfect. That was perfect for any interview you do, any situation. Fighting solves everything. And just think about it. You don't even have to fight. You could pretend to fight a bully. And if they don't want to fight, that shuts that down. If you want to fight somebody, you're fighting somebody and you win or lose, you still got the respect. So it's true. Fighting does solve everything.
Well, what's next for you? If you could lay out your dream scenario for BKFC, we know you've talked about a title shot. You're ranked in 2 divisions. Are you looking at cruiserweight, heavyweight? Do you have a preference?
Jay, I don't care where they put me or who they put me in front of. I'm just gonna be honest with you, brother. I just love, like I said, I love fighting with a passion. I seldom knock on some wood. I seldom get hurt, and I'm just going out there having fun. So if I'm doing this 2 years down the line, I'll be happy. But the dream scenario would be winning the belt and giving the belt to the people. I don't even want to hold the belt. I don't even want to keep the belt. I would want to give the belt to the people, because you know why? Because if it wasn't for the audience, if it wasn't for people like yourselves that interview these guys, make them bigger than life, we wouldn't be shit. And I tell people all the time, do not take for granted what the people give to you. And I would, if I won the belt, it would be for the people. Because I've won plenty of belts, I've won plenty of titles throughout my career, but giving a belt to the audience, to our people, to me, that's important. So if I can win a belt for the people, that would be my goal.
That's awesome. In an era where so many fighters tend to sound selfish, it's really refreshing to talk to someone like yourself who's so focused on the community and the people.
Let me be frank. Fuck that belt. It's for the people.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
that's awesome, brother. That's fucking
That's
awesome.
Great.
Where can our listeners find out more about you, Houston? Where can they connect with you on social media? Where can they learn about the Houston Alexander Foundation and everything else that you've got going on?
Well, they can go to HoustonAlexander.org and they can check out the foundation. We're redoing the website. You can find all the information about what I do in the community, because again, it's just not in my community. I go all over the country and all over the world with my foundation in that regard. And of course, I haven't been on social media too much in the past couple of weeks, because I lost a dear friend of mine who was my brother. And let me say that his name was Ray Jefferson. He was somebody real close to me. So I kind of settled down in his mourning, because he was someone I've been knowing since 5th grade. So I kind of settled down on social media, but I'm just starting to pick it up for 2023. So you can go any on my social media sites, or on Instagram, on Twitter. I'm trying to be on all the social media sites here in 2023. And again, if anybody want to find any information, all they have to do is Google you. Good or bad, all they have to do is Google you, fella. That's it.
Well,
but I don't have anybody buried in the desert, though. I don't have anybody buried in Vegas.
Nobody's turning up in Lake Mead or anything.
I don't have anybody buried in Vegas, though, no.
All right, good. Well, shit, man, thank you so much for sitting down with us. We really appreciate it. Our deepest condolences about your friend.
Yeah. And what's funny, because this is the first interview I've done since he's passed, or the first interview I've done since that. And we was kind of guys where, I don't know how close you guys are, but we would talk shit about each other on a regular basis, and even in death, I told my friend, hey, just because you're passing away, the energy doesn't change. When I say the energy doesn't change, I told him, and I'm gonna tell you guys this, because I know he's up watching me right now. I said, do you understand, my friend, that you're gonna die in some fucked up hospital socks? You're gonna die in hospital socks. And he looked at me like. So that's the kind of relationship me and that man had, and it's cool. It's cool, and it's cool. So it's a good thing, brother. He's looking down at us, wondering why the hell I'm doing this interview, talking shit about him.
Hell yeah.
We'll be looking down with a smile, that's for sure.
Yeah, well, I appreciate it. Now, how long you guys been doing your podcast?
We've been about a little over 3.5 years now.
Yeah.
Hey, man, that's good, man. Hey, hopefully, we're going to wish success on your podcast. And again, all you have to do is respect the game, respect yourself, and the podcast will go as far as it's going to take you.
Absolutely. Words of wisdom. Thank you, Houston.
Thank you so
we appreciate
much again.
that.
No doubt, man. Fellas, I appreciate it, man. And anytime you need me, just let me know.
All right, word.
Thank you.
You take care now, all right?
All right. I appreciate it, fellas. I appreciate you.
Thank you.
Bye now.
Yep.